Welcome back to the show, which is brought to you by ERT Radio. Your source for great talk and music. Go to mixler.com/ERT-radio and create an account, to get involved with the community and let them know, that you heard it from us. And there's several shows. Into the Outer Realms is rebroadcast on there. We're rebroadcast on there. Slacker 82 Radio. So you've got your political talk, with Slacker 82 Radio. You've got ours, which is just random topics, random subjects. We kind of cover a little of everything. And Into the Outer Realms, same thing. Cover a lot of varied topics. And check those out. Along with he has a couple times through the week where he streams some music, so it's really good listening to there. So just check out ERT Radio, and like I said, make sure you subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, wherever, but go to mixler.com and make sure you set up an account right there, so that way you can take it with you on the go and you can listen all the time and keep in time with the community. So ERT Radio. So tonight we are talking Antichristo, the Antichrist. In Christian tradition, it is foretold of the one that would come claiming to be the Christ, only to let be revealed that they were great deceivers. In Islam, the false messianic figure, Al-Dajjal, I'm sure I butchered that, the deceiver, he is said to be destroyed by Christ or the Mahdi, and which is known as the rightly guided one. He is described in the Hadith as a plump, one-eyed man with a ruddy face, curling hair, and the Arabic letters K, F, and R, which means unbelief, on his forehead. So, is Antichrist? Is this a TV evangelist? Is it a world leader, a politician, some global elite on a world order and domination spree? Or is it me? Welcome to the Three Beards Podcast. My name's Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is white.
Then live to send the innocent to their death? Is this justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
All right, we are back. Chris, what's happening, my man?
What's going on?
You're supposed to do that after you say hello.
How you doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good. So, everybody, this is kind of a surprise thing. We have a special announcement. Austin was hoping to be here in time. I mean, he says he's going to be here, so we're going to try to hold him to that. But we're going to bring on Brian M. Bowden right now at this time. So, everybody, I want to welcome you to the now regular member of the show. He is going to become. We reached out to him today. He had no idea this was coming, and we gave him the offer of joining with the show and being a regular host, and he said no.
Yeah, I did.
No, he's joining us. So it is now. So Austin's still gonna be part of the show. He's still gonna be part of the show. He's just gonna be with his schedule. It's been crazy. So he can't really plan on what's going to happen because things are happening. So Austin's still part of the show. He's just going to be kind of a silent member behind the scenes. And whenever he gets a chance, he's going to pop in. So Austin's going nowhere. The orange beard is still here. So, we still have ginger. We still have ginger power. We still have ginger power. So, but
I
welcome
thank
to the show,
you for-
Brian.
Thank you.
There you go.
Very
Now
much.
see, oh,
We got
have
sound effects.
sound effects.
Sound effects.
Oh,
Yes, I do.
we just got upgraded.
Upgrade.
yes, I can give you
We
the
just did
rim
an
shot.
upgrade. God,
Can you
it's like we
clap?
just leveled up in a video game. Ding!
Literally,
you now have access to upgrade sound effects.
you have
Play
the
them.
advanced weaponry, and what's really cool is if you want sound effects that you want to put in there, I could put stuff in. I mean, like I have a whole Al Santoriga contention right here. You know, like
Blah 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 blah.
so I put in that just to piss Al off. But
So we'll have to use that when he's on there. But let's not keep him in the green room. Tom Cardos, bring him on. How are you, sir?
Very well. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good. One of the founding members of the Golden Corrallios.
yes,
Yes, you find him on the North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project, and also the Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom. Did I get that right? Please tell me
That's
I got
right.
that right. Yes.
yes.
I mean, I've only done it 8-9 times. You'd think
finally
eventually it would
memorized
sink in.
Yeah. You finally memorized it where you're acing it. And don't mind the little patch on my eye. I was working today on a 10-foot ladder, and I was climbing to the ladder, and I was going to get a wrench, and the wrench fell, and it hit me right here. And it was the pointy. It was the wrench part of the wrench, not the butt. It was the wrench. So luckily, it whacked me here, and luckily I got a hard head, and luckily it didn't get me in the eye because I would probably be wearing an eye patch right now, and it probably might not been making it tonight. I'd probably be in the ER still, getting eye
So
work.
it wasn't a white guy version of Nelly, instead of on the cheek, he just put it up a horrible.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, you have to ask Lori about that.
Wow, you got whacked with a wrench.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You did take the trash out. If you can dodge a wrench.
You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a dodgeball.
That's right. Oh my God! So this is what. So Carlito, he's going to try to join too. If he can make it. So we may have a packed house. We may. If not, you're going to have the four of us.
Yes.
So the Antichrist. The use of Antichrist in the Bible, it seems on face value when you hear it, so many people think, like it's a really prevalent thing. Like the Bible talks about it all the time. It's only, the word Antichrist is only used 5 times in the Bible, and it's contained only in 2 books, the first and second books of John. And so Second Thessalonians, whoever, tomato, refers to the man of sin, and in Revelation they call out the beast of the sea, and that one actually has some connections to if I pronounce what I said in the opener, I think it's Al-Dajjal, I think is how you say it. Arabic's not my thing. So that beast of the sea can be linked to that, because that Islamic version of the Antichrist can be found in the Greek Prometheus legend, written in late 8th century BC. So this is close, well over 600 years prior to even Christ's appearance, that they're already talking about an anti-messianic figure. And so this one in the Prometheus account, the Al-Dajjal is bound to a rock on an island in the sea, and is sustained by feasting. And it's however you take it. It can be taken either way. It's feasting on demons, or it's being fed by demons. So it says it's fed by demons. So is it fed by eating demons, or are demons walking up and saying, "Here's some food"? We don't. That I don't know the specifics of that. And so that's some of the history. Like I just wanted to start off with, and like I said, open the floor, and just like anything, there's no order. Just throw stuff out, and we'll just talk.
When you mentioned 1 John and 2:18 speaks of the Antichrist, it says, "Dear children, this is the last hours, and they have heard that there's Antichrist coming. Even now, many Antichrists have came. This is how we know this is the last hours." So is it saying that there have been Antichrists first before, but we didn't follow them? So that's when 1 John speaks of the Antichrist. So we have been dodging the Antichrist, correct?
Well, I think, for me too, like said, you guys jump in too. Is this for me when I look at these things, like when they're talking about it, it's kind of like the Nostradamus prophecies. Everybody tries to fit it into their time period. Hitler was Hitler. You've got Napoleon. You got all these people that you can fit them into these pieces. So I don't know. I mean, I think that there's always going to be somebody that, okay, this has got to be, Biden, Trump. This has got to be the Antichrist. It's just because that's who you want to be the villain.
I mean, here's the fun part. All the Antichrist stuff was talked about prior to the Christ.
Yeah.
So and they weren't talking about the Christ. They're talking about the Antichrist. So, I mean, I guess from that you're assuming there's going to be there's a Christ someplace, but the Christ didn't appear until 000. So they're talking about this Antichrist for hundreds of years.
Yeah, prior to it, and that's when I was doing this research. That was the part that really surprised me too, is because just even growing up in the church and go in that first year of theology, school. I just, I remembered it. I just, in my mind, I just remembered it being more of a prevalent subject, like that was like all this stuff talking about it. And then when you actually look at it, it's not really well covered. It's just kind of like in some of these scriptures, it's just kind of like, oh, and yeah, there's going to be an anti-messianic figure.
Just move on.
Back to split the loaves. All right. Yeah. And which is kind of weird to me, because it seems like this would be kind of a major focus, but it's really sporadically covered.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I mean, like, throughout, we're talking about that I think there were a couple of attempts by, whatever, the Antichrist to take over. Antichrist is supposed to lead us to Armageddon and all of that, like where is the Antichrist Satan, is Satan the Antichrist? Where Satan and the Antichrist somebody, that's different, like his muscle or her muscle. But it's clearly stated, and no offense, ladies, it is a he. So, you got to kind of figure out like what's going on here. I do believe with Nostradamus's predictions, Histler or Hister is pretty damn close. And even though the acronym of Roy something whatever coming to be like the Napoleon King or whatever it is, I mean, taking into consideration that most people don't know this, Nostradamus had Hebrew roots, and he was around during the Inquisition, so he converted because it was the Inquisition, so he had to be quadruply, no pun intended, careful about how he worded things. But I don't think we're going to go back and try to take 6 different quatrains and try to figure out who the heck it is. He did say, what is it, Mobius or Morbius or whatever. Morpheus is from a totally different thing.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I've got a couple ideas who can fill that boat.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll get to that part. Too coming up. Like the theories that are going in here. It's one of the. Would you guys take, like, in that? Did any of you guys come across that, where the Islamic description of the Antichrist in doing research?
I personally knew about the Islamic description. It's very interesting. So,
because I don't take it as a literal like Cyclops. I take it as like maybe like iPad, one eye.
Well,
like missing an eye, type thing.
It's every religion, the 3 major religions, no offense to the Buddhist or whatever, it all breeds off of the Old Testament. So Old Testament begets New Testament, begets Quran. Well, Old Testament, Quran, New Testament, I think it is, or vice versa. So they're all going to have like similar characters throughout their allegories and the rules, and then they change it, for their own well-being. We in the Jewish faith, they don't have. it's not really called the Antichrist or the devil. It's something else. It is another name for it, and I forgot what the name was.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah. So I mean, but all these, they all are talking about the same thing. I wouldn't even know. Do we call it a being? Do we call it a fallen angel? Do we, what do we call it in these different religions? So it's just there. If everybody's mentioning it, or alluding to this type of Armageddon, end of the world, evil takes over, I think there's weight to it.
Well, and that's one of the things like you see. There's so many different groups that, I don't know if it's human nature or what, but everybody has. Because you mentioned Buddhism, you got the yin and yang, you've got these things where there's always the alternative to, in order to have light, you must have darkness. In order to have darkness, the light must be extinguished. So for something to be so good, there has to be the counterpart to make, to bring it to the light. So in these ones, excuse me, I've got to cough here in a second. I'm going to keep trying to talk, but nope, didn't make it. There we go. Yeah. So really, because you see some of the ones, I want to say it was back around 30, there's Gog and Magog. I mean, there's all these different entities, Baphomet. I mean, there's these ones where they've all got these different, where they start right here, and there's always like the antithesis to it. So I don't know. I mean, there's the people that say, like when I was in research, there's people that say too that this was strictly a creation of the early church, kind of like the boogeyman that was made in a way to propel the masses to stay in line. That, you have to guard on everything because the Antichrist is going to deceive you. And, you have to guard against this Antichrist. It's only through our words that we are going to be able to keep you here. And so, I don't know, I don't know what you guys think. I mean, do you feel like that might be something that, could attribute to the Antichrist, that it is just simply a made up story?
It could be allegorical to keep the masses, from following the wrong people. I mean, I would say, because if you're the leader and you say, hey, the Antichrist may come and trick you to follow this leader, but I am the true leader, then you probably wouldn't follow the false leader because you think the real leader who may be deceiving you is technically the right path you should be following.
Armillus.
Who?
Armillus.
Armillus.
The Hebrew name.
Oh yeah.
Armillus.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, they're just ADD squirrel random throw out. Armillus.
2 cups of salt. What? 2 cups of. Here's the problem though. So before Christianity, there are many different forms of belief throughout the world in different cultures, and of course there's different offerings to these beings. And that's when what's his name, who's the Caesar, I forgot his name,
Nero Caesar.
Yeah. He's he goes, no, he accepts it, creates pretty much the church for the most part. That's what Jesus is saying, and comes to like a mono religion, and it's the Catholic Church in play, nominates somebody for the office, kind of like we're going through now, and that person is the point person that gets to talk to the boss. Okay, but here's the thing with when you talked about Baphomet and all these other demonic beings that were being worshipped, representation of these things very similar are found in other religions. There are and it has no basis in Christianity. It's just, I believe these beings did exist, and they were like the pathway to evil, the pure evil, which would be the Antichrist. So you start out smoking a little weed, and then you slowly get into some other stuff, and then by the time you're finished, you're shooting heroin with the devil. So I know it's a little bit extreme, but that's where you're going. So I think these paths that they were doing, I mean, there was a lot of paganism. There were sacrifices, different seasons. And some of these gods related to fertility gods. And to please the fertility gods, there was like a lot of promiscuous sex. And it just so happened that what happens with promiscuous sex? Pregnancy. Well, what better way to, here you go. I have an offering for you. And you offer the kid up.
Blood sacrifice.
Yeah. That's the difference between, I'm going to go back to Old Testament versus New Testament. Okay. And New Testament leans with the Old Testament, but we weren't, you're not supposed to sacrifice your child unless God tells you to. Don't worship that calf. You worship me. I am the Lord.
So how do you interpret this? Jesus was born a virgin, so the Antichrist would be born of a woman who was apparently a virgin, but was really a whore, where Christ was God in the flesh, Antichrist was Satan in the flesh. So is it saying that the born of a woman is, I'm trying to equate that into something that's happening now. Like,
Rosemary's Baby effect.
Which one?
Rosemary's Baby effect.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't. Here's the weird thing. Okay. My personal belief is the Antichrist is here, and is on that verge of making the Antichrist known, who that person is, and I do believe it's a male. I don't believe it's a female. And that goes throughout history, and I'm not getting into the current state of wokeness. I'm just going back, men versus women, and what their roles were based on Old Testament, New Testament. Okay.
What if it used to be a woman?
In the Old Testament, what if it used to be a woman?
Hey, it's modern time. It's a modern Antichrist.
Well,
come on.
Let's go from the beginning, right? So it wasn't Adam and Eve in the beginning. It was Adam and Lilith.
Yeah.
And Lilith had a mind of her own, and she told Adam to go F himself and wasn't listening. So what did God do? He banished Lilith.
Yep.
Because Lilith may have had a little bit of interaction with the devil, Satan, whatever you want to call him. So he gave him Eve, who was more subservient. And she did and they lived in a peaceful life. Okay. No one really talks about Lilith. So there was a female presence there. I'm not saying, but I don't think the female is the vessel for this. Like, is where the
modern Antichrist. It's ma'am.
It's ma'am. Yeah, exactly.
It's fantastic, Ryan.
I mean, I could tell you, love my side of my family to death. I'm with 3 women, and they are pure evil at times, 100%. But I don't think when push comes to shove, they have the wherewithal. There's too many emotions, too many different. That's the difference between men and women. Not to say that we're not emotional, but they really work on both hemispheres. Where men is a little bit more on a totally different. Like, I'll enjoy this. I'll drink your blood when I'm finished. That would be your victory. Women would be like, I can't believe Jesus wore that outfit. I can't believe it. He's wearing those shoes. Totally different.
Oh, he can't. He totally cannot preach to me wearing those shoes with those sandals. You got those sandals and that rope. Oh my God, no.
He's wearing white. Oh God,
closet. Yeah. But here's another thing, and I'm not doing this to offend anybody. I totally recognize Jesus, Yeshua. Okay, let's call him by his real name. Okay, and I understand what he does, and I recognize him as a messenger from God. There were many messengers from God. Moses, Abraham, keep on doing your list. Okay. And he really, really caused a big problem. Yes. And he may have died for your sins, but I do not believe he is God. He's just the Christ. And I don't believe the Antichrist is Satan. I think it's their representative. It's like, we got Mike Tyson in one corner and Buster Douglas in the other. They're fighting. It's their whole the group, evil and good. Because why do you put yourself out there if you're the boss when you got someone who's like Drago, I must break you. You know, he comes in, kicks your butt, and then we can go. You don't need to, I take over. So that's where the difference is. But I mean, it's even said in many different forms through my own research, and I'm just trying to find my thing here. There's a checklist that we have to go by. So, which is very interesting. I've been talking about this for a while with another friend of mine who is, he was born in a certain way, in the Catholic way. And there's a checklist, and he's been doing this checklist. And the first one, leading up to Armageddon, okay, it's the rise of the Antichrist is just 7 on the list. The first thing is nations will rise against nations, and that's really World War I. Okay, that's where that comes from. And then you have the second one was the reestablishment of Israel, and that happened after World War II. So that's where that comes into play. All right. And then after you have that, you get into let me get out of this because my computer, I maximize my screens and
while he's doing this, we're at 26 minutes into this thing, and
right.
Facebook just now let me share it to my profile.
Oh, Facebook has been dogging right now.
This whole time I've just been clicking, trying to get stuff for the show, and I just finally allowed me to share to my own page. So it's like, oh my God. Anyway, continue.
Well, step 4 here is where he feels, and I kind of agree with him, that we're here at this point. Number 4 is invasion of the Northern Alliance. That means Russia and Iran and other countries invading Israel from the north. Then God does some kind of miracle, destroys them all to prove himself. That's what happens with that. Like this is the nation of Israel. After that, you got one world government. Sound familiar, folks? Because those be happening. You have 10 kingdoms after one world government. It's not going to last the New World Order. And then after the 10th kingdom governments, you will get the rise of the Antichrist. And then once the Antichrist is here, there will be a period of peace, roughly 7 years or so. And then you have the 7-year covenant between Israel and the Antichrist when he goes there and becomes the leader. The temple's built. And let me tell you something. The third temple, there's a lot of things that must take place before that third temple is built. One of the keys is the red heifer. If you've been paying attention to that, that's a signal of the end of the world. And if you get signals for the end of the world, then you get signals from the Antichrist. And then after that, it's followed by the Great Tribulation. So it's
the secular part, which is the throwback to that one. It's just like the red heifer is a genetic throw, the pure red one. So it's one of those, they make that claim. Well, it's just, it's like the great white buffalo.
Yep.
And First Nation, tribal, legend. So it's like the great white buffalo is, it's an albino, but it's rare, but it does occur, even though it's seen as an omen. There's still those that are the non-believers in the thing. They'll say, well, it's just a random throw. I mean, there's no real supernatural through it. It just happened to be the genetics lined up at this time. Well,
you take the red heifer, which is a legitimate red heifer. And let me tell you, there's a group of people, rabbis, whoever, they literally look at every square inch of this heifer. It has to be pure. There can't be even an inkling of another color. And then you get the white buffalo, which has been born numerous times, but I remember when it was born probably over 10 years ago. And then you combine that with not just Revelations, but what they say in Matthew and Isaiah, these signs that you're looking for. And in there, Euphrates River drying up, that unleashes these the watchers who screwed up and created the Nephilim and all that other stuff when they shouldn't have. And then on top of that, have you noticed that the animals have been going in circles?
Circular. Yep.
Yeah, I've had a few people bringing that up, and it's really weird. They've just been like, I think there was like one of the sheep that has supposedly been doing it for 5 days, and just running in this circle.
So when you go in a circle, right, when they're in a spiral and they're doing it clockwise, it's a death spiral. When they do it counterclockwise, and they have done it counterclockwise, it's supposed to be the coming of evil. Animals know when tribulation's coming. So I mean, there's a lot of variables that are tick them off.
And it's not just it's like ants too. It's insects. It's all kinds of animals that are doing it. Worldwide.
There are people doing it, okay? And I don't want to get into, but we recently saw something on a football game, but there are other people that are having these collapses. And it's really weird. If you look at some of the videos of people being caught when they're dying at that point, they all look up like this, like they're afraid. And then some of them start spinning. They start spinning.
Yep.
I mean, you have a recipe for something going on. So I said, my question was not only with, like, okay, great, the Antichrist here. Why doesn't he just take over? Right? I don't know if the Christ has been born. And something that really bothered me, and I don't want to get into it, but there was something that was given out. Okay. One of the side effects of what was given out is sterility. And where was it? Like 99.999% given out. Very rare. I was really pissed when I heard this. In a nation called Israel.
Oh, wow.
And if the Christ is supposed to come back, it has to be born. But what if you can control it and prevent it from coming to be born? What do you have then?
Yeah, that is actually a great point, because for the longest time I felt like that's going to be one of the things that's going to come out is something that's going to have to do with fertility. That there's going to be a real drop in birth rates.
I always loved that skit, like, oh, so while I was tending the sheep, God came down and impregnated you. Right. Okay, Mary. All right. I'm going to go get some spilled milk. But here's the thing. Why did you get born?
I know that routine. It's awesome. It's like, Joseph, yeah. You know how we've never had sex? Yeah. Well, the angel of the Lord came to me and I'm pregnant. Ah, Jesus Christ. Oh, you already heard about it. Yeah. That's Jim Gaffigan. It's an awesome routine.
I mean, I used to do, something similar with like 10 seconds left at the Coliseum. The Hebrews have the ball. Aaron to Moses, Moses to Aaron, Aaron back to Julius. Julius back to Aaron, 3-2. Back to Jesus. He scores. There's going to be a crucifixion tonight, folks.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I'm going to go to hell for that.
No.
I'll be quiet.
Well, you want to get
you're safe with me.
My details are going to like being raised in New Jersey, growing up Roman Catholic, all that sacraments, the Pope, the Vatican. That's where I'm not saying it's 100%, but my theory is going towards that's the papacy, and it starts as Martin Luther. What I got was his recognition that the papacy is the Antichrist, and it goes back further than that because the last one of the recent popes just recently passed, the one that was previous to the one we have now, Francis, and now there's a lot of dark occultish, deceptive kind of portrayals, and he does a lot of symbolisms to Satanism, and a lot of people are kind of onto him, and I'm thinking it's possibly him because he has people, because he leads the Vatican Church. He has all that power, and the Vatican. I mean, that the power the Vatican has is like a whole nother country. So
it definitely could be, because that's one of the things that they've really talked about. It's like after Pope Francis came about, he did a lot of things that were almost like a complete 180 of church doctrine.
Did you see the snake in the auditorium? Like it's like the snake eyes, the serpent. I mean,
I'll see if I can bring that image actually up.
While you're doing that, we were talking about Nostradamus, or it was being talked about at one point, and Nostradamus even said, if you go back to the old prophecy of what he said, in the end of days, the sign is that Benedict, who just died, his death is going to signal the anti-pope. So we have an antichrist and we have an anti-pope. Okay, and he will be the last pope. So right now, who you have in office, and I'm sorry, and I don't want to offend anybody but I do believe he is the anti-pope, because the things he's done and the forgiveness he's given is just uncalled for what has been done to the innocent.
So here's the room where he gave that speech, and you can see when you look at it, you can clearly see it has, the look of the two eyes,
Snake
the fangs, and the serpent head.
I mean, not
So
only that, there
Yeah.
was something I sent to you, to just you guys at one point, and I don't know if you have the video from that chat, and you may not want to put it up, but when he comes up recently and he does the sign of the cross. So I'm just going to go from here. He goes from top to bottom. Instead of going from that back up to top, it was top, bottom, bottom, over.
Upside down cross.
Inverted cross.
Yeah.
So he does it backwards.
You're not even paying attention to it, but it's an inverted cross.
Yeah, because you can see if he does this and
yep, he goes down right here. Okay, you're not. You go to top, bottom, left, right, or right, left. I don't subscribe.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Right. So it's up top. It's a cross. What he did was an inverted cross. I mean, I've seen pictures of someone that rhymes with Hilton but starts with a C. Her daughter wearing an inverted cross.
I'm just trying to think. I remember something that's like something, head, watch, wallet. It's like how you remembered it. Yeah.
Kim Baker days.
Yeah. Just trying to remember.
So, I mean, and then it's not only, it's really weird. Our assignment was like, do you think, we talk about the Antichrist, and I think you should go around who you think may or not be. Someone mentioned in your post, there's a lot of talk about this guy out of France, Macron, being it. I mean, he really, I don't know if that's true or not, but, he's going to come, it's the Antichrist is supposed to come from a Roman ethnic origin. It's not coming from the middle, from the South Asia or anything. It's coming from the Roman area. So anything Latin.
Yeah, just because like a lot of stuff, just something's from the East, and I think a lot of people like Far East. No, it just something from the East.
Right. And if you think about it, if Jesus was born and lived in the Holy Land, and Rome, whatever, is where Jesus was killed, it came from Rome, all this stuff coming from Rome. I find it really unnerving that Rome became the center of the religion that was started elsewhere. It's almost like, it's like someone being a rapist and then playing their own lawyer in court and then questioning the victim that was raped. I mean,
sounds like Weinstein.
Yeah, well, how much torture? It's like, oh, we're gonna really screw you now. So the guy in charge is really the guy that's evil.
I'm sorry, allegedly Weinstein. Save ourselves here. Allegedly. So
yeah,
because I was looking at one of the things, unfortunately, with the censors, how we have this modern world where we have to watch what we say. A lot of the ones, they're referring to a certain thing that's happened in the last couple of years as what's considered the mark of the beast, and that's one of the things too.
The chips, the things
and
like that.
The second one of the Golden Corrallios has made it to the show.
Hey.
Oh my God!
Welcome, Carlito.
The food.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Carlito,
how's it going? What's up, Brian? Tom?
Yep. That was Golden Corral.
Chris?
What's going on?
Doing good, man.
How was the food?
It was great.
Everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about right now is everything,
Greg disappeared.
What's that? No, I'm here. I think it was
producer's fired.
No, it was just like a brief disappearance. I'm not sure what happened. Does everybody see me okay? Hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
No,
All
we
right.
don't see you.
We don't see me? Yeah. Can you hear me? No, I can't. Yeah, that's it. One of the ones I had the picture, and I was gonna, like I said, bring that up too. It's a little bit blurry because I had to zoom it in because it was a picture for ants. Here, it's like, Carlito, there might be a little feedback coming from your end. It's like, whoa, what happened there?
It's the
They
image.
don't want you to show it.
Baphomet.
Yeah, it's the image, but yeah, it's so anybody just blink with it and you'll be able to see it too there. But you can so you can see that right there. It was superimposed with the image of Baphomet with the Ukrainian symbol and Zelensky in front of it, and that was one that's been cast around because you have certain see that whatever it was that just went away, so that's perfect.
Right.
So what you can see in that is Laura had mentioned, wasn't he a good figure? He in the original thing of Baphomet, yes. Yeah, I hope nobody has epilepsy watching it. Yeah, me too. But like I said, if you blink in rhythm with it, you should compensate. Yeah. Just think of it like one of those things. Just like do something else. Try to compensate for it.
A queen.
Lord, I apologize for my technical problems. Yeah, it's so when you see this thing, Baphomet is used here, and they're using that how there's the iconic. The name, the word's failing me. It's iconography, I think is how you pronounce it, is showing there that the Ukrainian symbol is forming the horns of Baphomet and stuff. In that, is it an unfortunate appearance? Yes, but does that mean? But he's one of the ones. People have even said like Vladimir Putin is the Antichrist, but one of those, like through a lot of the research that's coming, it's going to be somebody who's young, energetic, and I really feel like Klaus, Klaus Schwab. These guys are no, but I think these guys are the harbingers. I think these are the ones that are setting the stage. They're the ones getting things prepared, like the stuff. God, I hate the fact that we have to tiptoe around stupid subjects. Yeah, it's just the thing that's been going on the last couple of years. I believe these are all pieces because they've got to prepare. And it's just like anything. It's just like when in the early, the early things, they were preparing for the coming of Christ. It's like Jesus didn't just show up to the, the gate and all of a sudden everybody was cheering. They set up and they were preparing. I mean, it's like they were getting things prepared for the entry, through the Jerusalem gate. So this is something they're kind of doing in that way, that same type of activity.
Doing it in stages,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just
1, stage 2, stage 3, final stage 4, and so on.
Yeah, because one of those things, I don't know if you remember back in when Obama first came into office, there was talk about, economic justice across the globe. That was one of the big things that they brought up. And one of the biggest things is what's more likely to happen? That the rest of the world is brought up to the standards of Europe and the West, like us, to our style of living, or is it more likely that this style gets brought down? And that's what's going on. Is they can't just wipe something up. It has to be a slow takedown because people will just flat out reject it. They won't.
Right.
You can't do it. I mean, it's just like anything. If I come to you today and I say you can no longer drive, I'm going to tell you what you can eat, what you can wear. You're most likely going to pull something that you have legally registered and loaded with you on your person and tell me to leave.
Pew pew pew.
Yeah, you're going to have a freedom seed waiting for me to plant. Right. And so that's the problem with these groups, and you can see that's why, because Brian, you said it earlier. That's why it's like, because you mentioned why don't they just do it? Well, they can't, because there's so many people that will just flat up be an uprising, and then out goes the plans. Now we got to reset.
But I mean, with everything that's going on, Dodge is no longer making gas powered vehicles. So if they put everybody on electric, and you're forced to buy electric, and then the grid crashes, then you have to abide by what is coming and what has to be coming, because You have no way to travel. Everything is public transportation is going to be electric. Everything is going to be electric. So this feeds right into the theory of what you're talking about.
Whereas a slow incremental change is what has to, and that's where you can bring in all these different things. Bohemian Grove, the elites that are involved in here, the Bilderberg, what I like to refer to as the Bilderbergers. The Bilderberg group. For anybody that's from the, Bilderbergers was actually a pretty cool place, by the way. That was for anybody that knows that one. That was pretty cool.
Hey Craig,
yeah.
can I add something real quick?
Yeah, jump in.
Okay, I've been listening since the very beginning of the show. I was just on my phone driving on the way home, and I'd like to add something to what Brian said earlier on the Nostradamus effect. And that's absolutely true. If everything's correct according to Nostradamus effect or Nostradamus predictions, then obviously the Napoleon was the first Antichrist, supposedly, according to Nostradamus. The second was Hitler, and the third one has not yet been revealed up to today. But I'd like to add somebody to that list that could be very potential threat as an Antichrist. And he's been working on saving people, taking them to Mars. He's been working on AI, which that's another good point of Antichristism, because the humanity has no longer use in this world if they do go with the AI, and that's good old what's this guy's name? Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
I think he would be a very good candidate towards the Antichrist position.
Transhumanism at its finest,
Yeah.
But you have to bring around like 7 years of peace, global peace, and this guy, he's not fitting the bill. It has to be somebody that is going to come and not have war. Like, look, we got to have peace and really make peace in Israel and do something great. Something that's very interesting in relationship to, I always said that, well, why can't they just do it? If they don't burn, if the Christ isn't born and the Antichrist just take over. And one of, my buddy who was really into this because of his religious background and growing up, he says it has to go in the order as described by God or sent to us through God through different books. Otherwise, God becomes a liar, and God can't lie to you. Okay, which is interesting because why does it? Have you noticed that anytime something bad happens or evil is going to happen, they tell you before they do these stupid things? What's the purpose of being told? They tell you, and then they do things to hurt and kill people. God says to the person, whoever your God is, and they always have to have a witness. So God needs a witness, and the evil side always has to tell you before they do it. It's a pretty interesting game, but something very interesting when we finally get past that battle of X, Y, and Z, between good and evil. What's going to happen is the Messiah is going to come, whoever he is or she is, and then you're going to have that, we kicked his butt. The Messiah comes and delivers everybody. When the Messiah comes into Israel, that Messiah has to come through the gates of Jerusalem, which is closest to the Mount of Olives. It's really interesting and important. And the reason why I'm saying that is, you want to talk about something very interesting. There is a true word that isn't spoken in Judaism about the true name of God. It appears all over the Bible, Old Testament. It's 4 letters, YHWH. That is the true name of God. And I don't know if you guys were aware of this recently, but on that very gate where the Messiah is supposed to come down off the Mount of Olives and deliver the people to God, on that gate, there are these different plants that are growing on the wall. It's super old. No one goes near it. And the plants are literally forming. First, there was one, then another one, third one, they're waiting for the fourth one. And it was forming in the Hebrew letters, the letters Y in Hebrew, H in Hebrew, W in Hebrew, and the final H they're waiting for.
No, that's crazy.
Talk about signs.
And that's wild.
That is pretty wild. That's like God saying, you know, I'm coming back and I'm pissed. You know?
Well, yeah, but also, like the Bible says, if we go by the Bible, of course, the Bible says at the end of times, the Euphrates River is going to dry up, and the Nephilim are going to come out of subterranean wherever they're at. I guess they're in like chains or whatever, because it says that they're in chains somewhere. I read, and so that again, too, that's starting to show the end of times, because there's been multiple videos and sightings of giant people up on top of mountaintops walking down. There's been in the USA, there's been in Mexico, there's been in other southern South America somewhere. I can't remember if it was Chile or something like that. So they're starting to pop up slowly, but they're starting to pop up. So those are signs that we're in the end of times. If they're real, those are signs that we're in the end of times, if they are real.
But does the end of times mean Armageddon, or does the end of times mean the Antichrist is coming?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest questions. Like when we were doing the research,
I would say the Antichrist is coming first, then Armageddon.
Yeah, but there's like you weren't here, but there's literally a list of things, like 10 things that have to occur, and it has to occur in order. And I said, well, my argument was like, well, God can do whatever the hell he wants. You know, he goes, no, my friend's like telling me, he's like, God has to stick to the plan, because God cannot lie to you. If God starts lying to you, why believe in God? He's taking advantage of you. God supposedly doesn't lie to you. The devil lies to you. So anybody that comes forward as being that God or the Messiah or whatever has to go but play by the rules. So we can't Armageddon, which brings around, or there's certain things that have to fall. And the central point of this whole conversation here happens to be the Middle East and Israel and what's going on around it.
Well, you saw what just happened on the Temple Mount, didn't you?
No,
the Alaska Mosque.
What happened to it?
One of the hardline PM, he went and had a security tour, and he went on into the mosque.
Okay, well, really? PM
yeah.
out of where? Out of
Israel. Yeah. So he was one of the. So he was he's kind of like
Berserk?
He's one of like he's one of the more hardliners, and so he's kind of the one where I think he's part of the group that would like to see the mosque torn down.
Well, you got to understand something, that in order
that was the Temple of Solomon, the location.
That's the center of it, and you have to tear it down. And everything's been working, kind of gelling, or
Yep.
You got the Jets and the Sharks. Little West Side Story for you people.
Well, yeah, and also too, we have yet to see all the thousands of dead fish come up out of the rivers or oceans, like it says in the Bible. The plagues of these insects, that like in The Exorcist, was it 1 or 2, where those grasshoppers were like a plague and they were coming to kill everybody or whatever. So we still have to see that happen too. So
I mean, we have been seeing the dead fish pop up on our coast due to red tide. So, I mean, is that part of that? I mean, you said a fish coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
dead.
There's a lot of fish that come up dead from our red tide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen that as well. But I think it's on a way bigger scale than that, though. Worldwide, or something.
It's a third of the ocean, type. Type. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those tales. Like when you look at it, it's like everybody. There's people. A lot of people look at it. That's why in the promo, politicians. Because there's always that one that you want to hate. You don't like. You pick those ones out. Trump, Obama, Biden. But the thing about the prophecies too is that they clearly say that this person is going to come in, and people they don't have to convince you to like them. You like them. I mean, the Antichrist is not, I used the picture on what you saw in the promo. I did that for the shock value. The Antichrist isn't going to come out looking like a demon and it's going to be this, this hellish figure that you can't, you're going to run from. No, this is going to be the person that it's going to feel like the grandma, the grandpa that you want to go, you want to be there, you want to learn from him, because it's literally going to be a false Messiah. And when it's discovered, you're going to be like, holy, I was duped. I mean, people will fall for this.
Yep.
I mean, what Carlito said earlier, I mean, I could see Elon being that guy because he is very meticulous on how he talks. He had people dump their money in crypto that I mean, he pumped it up. So, I mean, I could see that, what's his name didn't start acting the way he acted until he came back from talking to Elon.
Yeah, and he's getting dangerously powerful if you look at it.
Kanye went to go talk to Elon, and it's like Kanye just ape shit. Like, who knows? I mean, I mean, did he convince Kanye that, hey, this is what's going on? Now you just go ape shit?
Kanye's always been a little on the crazy side. I think somebody just slapped an Energizer battery into the back of him and said, press the on button. And Yeezy was born. Yeezy.
I'm getting into the Kanye thing quickly. I know what he's saying, and he's speaking from his own personal experience. And then he went a little bit, because everybody started attacking him. He goes on the defensive, and he's getting a little crazy. But what he was saying about how he got screwed, same thing Dave Chappelle was saying. Kanye just used, more colorful language to describe it. Okay,
right.
And everybody's like, oh, he's an anti-Semite. Like, no, he got screwed, and he's just voicing his opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that happens, then you don't know who controls the entertainment industry.
He's against the Zionists, not the actual Israeli. Right. He's against the hardcore Zionists. But I was doing some research too with the Armageddon, and the Armageddon, when you type it out, it'll actually say the Hill of Megiddo. And in the New Testament, it's a place where the kings of earth under demonic leadership will wage war on the forces of God at the end of history. And that's also the Apocalypse and, Revelation, John 16:16. Pretty interesting. The Hill of Megiddo.
We have seen nothing yet when it comes to the Middle East, because I know that, these are the things I follow. When I get invited to some kind of, confirmation or bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah or whatever it is, it's not that I'm a devout believer in God. I have my own personal relationship with God, and I follow multiple disciplines on it, so I don't prescribe to a specific religion. So I sit there and I start reading the footnotes of all those, of the Bible, the Old Testament. You can find some really good. If you want something juicy, read that crap, okay? And you'll read about the red heifer, and you'll read about what needs to take place in order for the third temple to be built. I mean, there's sacrifices have to be made. There's going to be huge war. It has to take place where Israel takes control of the Dome of the Rock and destroys it. And at that point, all bets are off. Something has to give, and I think we're getting to that point. This peace isn't going to last.
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, because that was one of the things I found too. It's where in the Islamic, thing, they talk about that this is going to come through Israel. I mean, does that seem like a big surprise? No. I mean, it's always been, it's that whole thing about religion. I mean, for the love of God, you both come from Abraham. I think we can get along. It's one of those. It's just, you see these say. I mean, this is literally. It's like Ireland, the Protestants and the Catholics killing each other. I'm like, last I checked, you both have a cross behind you. This makes no sense. I'm like, good God. I'm like, you both. Do you follow Christ? Yes. Do you follow Christ? Yes. I got. What? You're against the circumcision thing. I mean, that's why we're blowing up a school. I don't understand what's going on here. Yeah. It's just you have these things. It's like it's crazy.
You know what's really strange to me too, that part of the world is always at war. If you notice, Israel, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, what's that other one? Ukraine. I mean, all of that on that side of the world is always at war. Makes you wonder, does that have anything to do with the coming of the Antichrist or Christ himself?
It could. I mean, it really could. I mean, everybody. I get your guys' take on this one. I mean, because I think everybody looks at it like literally, like in the last couple of years. But it's one of these things. I mean, it could be a long game. I mean, just because Israel has been there since the 40s, I mean, that in the cosmic scheme, that's like a fraction. That's nothing, but to us, it seems like, wow, man, they've been there for 80 years. Why is this such a problem now? No, this could be all building to that point.
I mean, look, there was there's 2 temples already. Israel has been there and reclaimed the Hebrews. And it's the Hebrews, and then it goes to Judah. Okay, that's where Jews come from. They're following Judea. United all the tribes of Israel into one. Okay, and there have been war after war after war. It's the Jews versus the Turks, Jews versus the Greeks, Jews versus you name it. That's why they had a temple. It was destroyed. They built another temple. It was destroyed. We're just waiting for that 3rd temple. And frankly, if it's going, there are people right now, and I know I talked to a variety of people that are, one person I know is heavily involved in excavating underneath the old, the Wailing Wall, Western Wall, where and the controlling interest, Palestinians or whatever of the Dome of the Rock, they are, I mean, getting violent right now. Don't do it, and they're doing it. They're not supposed to. The military is supposed to stop them to do it, but they're still doing it. They're looking for something that's there. And they're going to rebuild this temple. Will it be in our lifetime? Possibly.
Well, I think we talked about that. It's like is it one of the possible, the arcs? Because there's, you have the archangels, and this is one, because that's where you got the Ark of the Covenant. You have, it was the Ark of Gabriel was the one that was said to have been moved to Antarctica. And, and there's also rumor that there's something, possibly like that, a relic of great power that might be somewhere on that site still, and that's why they're digging, because they've got no regard, because that program, I wish I could remember the name of it. It's the one where they're sifting through the rubble piles, and they're basically, it's like a puzzle. They're putting it all together, and they're finding these inscriptions. They're finding all this, basically lost, artifacts that they're just crushing into rubble and just hauling out of there. I mean, because they don't care. They're just chiseling through, trying to get to whatever they're searching for.
They're looking for something specific, and I believe that the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark that held the 10 Commandments, the Word of God, was removed from there. And I still, to this day, I really do believe it's either in the United States someplace, or in the Ark possession, or it's in Ethiopia.
Oak Island, man.
Is that one?
In Oak Island.
Hey, well, Indiana Jones was not a documentary.
Do you think it's in the Vatican, possibly?
No, the Vatican. Any country or army that has the Ark behind it is
unstoppable.
There was a whole documentary with Ethiopia, and it showed these old tribe, and they called it the Ark, but it was an old wooden round thing that they carried around, and they kept it guarded in a tent for 24 hours a day.
Yeah, in Ethiopia, it is being guarded.
What about that little purse that every god in every religion carries?
I think that honestly, I think that relates to if you've ever watched our astronauts going to into these rockets and the capsules, they're actually carrying something that looks very similar to that. It's a breathing device. It's your oxygen converter, and I think the reason why they're carrying it is because They are converting the oxygen, because if you're going to come back to this planet, go back in time, and you weren't born in that time or had that immunity, you need to protect yourself with immunity. Do you understand?
Yeah, it's like the War of the Worlds, where just the common cold kills off the aliens.
Yep.
Because they're exposed to the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But I think if they do, everybody, from what I've seen, there are a variety of different individuals in this world right now, from the one world or New World Order people to the eugenics people to a whole bunch of others that are all trying to force the hand of God. That's what I'm seeing right here. They're doing everything in their power to force the hand of God. We have become Babylon, folks.
Yeah.
We are Babylon.
Well, yeah. Well, so another thing. Speaking on that, being God or becoming God, you just touched a very good subject. Wouldn't that be included in humans trying to play God and make AI?
Well, here's the problem with AI, in my opinion. Sorry, taking too much time.
No, you're good.
AI is
You're part of the show, sir.
Yeah, no, well, I know that, but AI is crap. I posted about it. I said, you need to put this AI crap out. Yeah, you can make some fun pictures with it. The problem with artificial intelligence, it's artificial and it's lacking a key component. And that component of intelligence is emotion. Emotion. See, this is the problem. When you hear these aliens coming back, and people have been interviewed, and I've interviewed a bunch of abductees. There isn't a gray area. There's gray aliens, but there isn't a gray area. It's either black or white. They have no emotions. These decisions are being made off of black or white. But that gray area is a huge portion of what makes you more intelligent. If you need that gray area, it's not yes or no. There are maybes.
Well, yeah, that is true, but they do have some type of Skynet thing going on already, and I don't know if you've heard that story about some scientist in a laboratory that turned off these AIs or whatever, and one stayed on for I don't know why or how, but it replenished itself and redid everybody else too, and it was four of them, 4 AIs. They killed every scientist in that place. So that makes you wonder: can they reprogram themselves after we program them to begin with? See what I'm saying?
It's all faulty.
And can they take their power into we can't really kill a machine. They can kill us, but we can't kill it. We can only program it or unprogram it, but not kill it. See what I mean? Like the Rise of the Machines, Terminator thing. But if they have some type of, I'm not going to say heart or feelings or anything like that, but the imagination to create something different, something new that we never programmed, wouldn't that be able to, let them, take over the world and do their own thing and then eliminate humanity?
If you make an artificial intelligent robotic thing that knows how to eventually build itself and rebuild and program, but it's they had another thing. I don't know. I think it was either Google or one of them, Google, Twitter, or even Facebook. Everybody's playing with AI, and they created this AI stuff. These two computers were talking to each other, and in a matter of 30 minutes, they created their own language.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then they started creating double languages, and they would start moving back and forth with each other and interacting. And it got to the point it scared the crap out of the developers.
Like robots.
They no longer understood it.
Robots going around saying that they're going to kill all humanity, and they're saying it as a joke. But what if they're not joking? And I have another thing. What about these kids that are being born from people that had the thing? And these kids are born with black eyes and no consciousness. They're just like dull.
I will kill you. Ha ha ha. Just kidding.
That's a very good point, Tommy.
This goes back to the Antichrist, and I'll tell you why. This is my problem with it. I'm trying to explain to people, and I can't speak for God, and I will not speak for God. But you are not allowed to do anything to deface God's work, God's creation. That's why you're not supposed to do things if you get pregnant and whatever. What this thing that we can't talk about did, if you read the white papers, it changed the entire DNA of what God created. It took God's creation and said, F you, and we're going to recreate it. It's not a human being. And the minute you do that, here's what I worried about for those people that are looking to get to heaven. God won't let anything into heaven that isn't pure.
No.
Isn't God made impure? So where do these individuals go? Where do these, and I'm going to say this really weird, and I'm sorry, some of them, who knows, maybe they're soulless. Where do they go? Oh, I know where they can go. Who's going to use a soulless whatever? Yeah,
good point, Brian. Good point.
Demonic possession.
You're talking about, because even like AI, I mean, it could even be used in different things, because we still, with the person of tribulation, we still have to have the invasion of Magog. Yeah. And so, it's one of those, when these predictions are done, they, what do they see a drone as? I mean, it would be, it'd be viewed as something, a bird of the sky. It'd be something, they would have to go with what they, they knew. Do you see something with flames and stuff? It's a heavenly angel. I mean, it could just be something, however they describe it. I mean, it could be a lot of things. I mean, that's one of the things, like, through this research, I wish it was so easy to see where people could just say, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's this guy. I mean, all these people fit into it, like Tom was doing with the Vatican. There are so many things to where you see these things, you're like, this is, the significance of the symbology is right here. It's right in front of you. So why are people, discounting this? And I honestly think that a lot of these people that we're seeing, Klaus Schwab, Pope Francis, they're harbingers.
Yep.
They're the ones setting the stage. And that's, I said, you could see a lot of these people. And I mean, I don't know if a lot of people are, Elon, it could it be him? Yeah. I mean, it also could be that he's being led in these things and he's being used as that tool, because the Antichrist is going to be coming into a period of peace, and Jerusalem is going to welcome him in as the Messiah. And he'll rule over Jerusalem for 3.5 years. I mean, that's the thing. It's like Messiah. Yeah,
I honestly think that Elon is not completely human. I think he's being used as a vessel by a higher power to come, like say Jesus, with all these intelligent and creative powers that he has or whatever, to come to humanity and everybody worship him, like, oh wow, look at this guy, he's such a good creator, look, he's taking people to Mars, look, what I mean, like kind of like a Jesus, you could say, savior type of way or whatever. But yeah, like me and Tom, we're on TikTok, and we love watching all these videos on on giants, on everything. I know Brian's on there too, but I don't know if he really, flat earth, all that, bro. I mean, like we send me and Tommy, we send each other like every day, like videos. Hey, check this out. Hey, check this out. You know what I mean? And it only helps us expand our knowledge. And another thing, why I talk so much about the AI is because like I told Tommy, I think it was yesterday, he sent me a video from TikTok, and I said, bro, I've been saying this always. I've always been saying this. I believe that we were put here by aliens on this earth, right? Because it was something related to that. So my thing is, so what if I'm right, and aliens did come and place us humans here, right, on this earth, and when they come back, they find nothing but robots? What's going to happen then? See what I mean?
Right. Here's the problem with Elon Musk being what you're saying, maybe Christ or whatever. The Antichrist is going to be someone beloved by all.
Yeah, and everybody don't love Elon. So
I'll tell you,
everybody loves Elon. I don't. I see him as a threat, but yeah.
No,
like a lot of people.
But I've seen some really weird things with Elon that just being a researcher of unidentified aerial phenomenon or UFOs. I mean, I could see him being an alien or hybrid or something to that effect. But when you're talking about, this
You
part
get a
of
Christ. You get a Christ. You get a Christ.
you get Christ. You get exactly.
Everybody gets Christ.
You get Christ. But I mean, I think I've been told by a other party the Anunnaki are back, and they want what's theirs, which is this planet. And technically, they may have been, like Stitchin said, they may have created us, and we were. And there's a pretty different Anunnaki.
Speaking of Anunnaki, I'm sorry to interrupt real quick. There's supposedly we've been looking into flat Earth and all that. Me and Tommy. There's videos all over TikTok. Y'all can look them up if you want to. There's videos of what's the Earth, our Earth, what we call our Earth or our globe, whatever. It's really not a globe. It's really just a platform. And but past the ice walls, there's other what is it called, Tommy? Continents or whatever.
Ornaments, yeah.
Yeah, and there's one that's actually called Anunnaki. So those that's where probably where the Anunnaki came from. And not just that they said that these people or beings, they're supposed to live up to 800 years or something like that. And that's probably why we've been calling them extraterrestrials. Terra is land, so extra land. What if extraterrestrials are from out of our world but outside our ice walls, and that's the extra land, extraterrestrial? You know what I mean? Yep.
Yeah. Here's my problem with flat Earth. Why are we the only planet that's flat? Why isn't Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus? Yeah,
there's actually land that's called Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, all that past the ice walls.
So this whole thing is just one giant strip mall.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I personally
well, I mean, I can't say I'm 100% sure because I haven't been out to those lands, right? I can't say that, but this is what I've learned. This is what a lot of people have done their research and look or found out some way, past what's past on Antarctica, starting with Admiral Byrd.
Yeah, I've heard don't take it the wrong way. I've heard all these theories, and I heard all these people coming up with stuff. And
stars aren't really stars. Stars are just, little lights over the glass dome. That's pretty much water above the glass dome.
You know what the funniest theory I've heard? The reason it rains is because the water above us is leaking out.
No,
that is one of the funniest ones I've heard. That we're under a dome, and that when it rains, that's from a water leak.
No.
That's awesome. I love that one.
I did study a lot of astrophysics and stuff, and I don't believe it's because the curvature of a lens at all. I've actually done a remote view off this planet. It is rounded than round. It looks exactly the way it is. Actually, it looks more egg-shaped because it's kind of oblong, and it squeezes depending on gravity or gravitational pull and forces. Something I heard down here in Florida, which just comes up with the old Florida. I heard these two kids, and they were in college, and they were asking like what happened with the one teacher. They were talking about physics, and he said there's no such thing as gravity. Gravity isn't real. It's made up. And I'm like,
wow.
And he said it's actually it's
centrifugal force, I believe.
It's a mass that's being pushed down, and I'm like, I just had to get involved. I'm like, did your teacher just tell you there's no such thing as gravity? No, there's no gravitational pull or anything like that.
We're going it's going up, and so that's what's holding you down is because it's rising,
right?
Like an elevator.
I just told him, I said, you need to sue your school right now.
I demand refunds.
Melon, we need you.
Yeah, there's definitely, because you can see. I mean, let's be honest. It's like one of those things that we're getting a little far off track here, but some of the problems too. It falls down to NASA and other things because they let these things go without really good explanations, and then when they come out and they say stuff like we've lost all the telemetry data to get to the moon, when they say stuff like that, you all of a sudden
Yeah.
And I mean, even now, like when they're talking about the moon mission, we're still trying to figure how to get past
Yeah,
the radiation
they
belt.
lost the tapes.
Yeah, and we're trying to figure out how to get past the the radiation belt. You're like, wait a minute. We did this in basically a tin can in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
And we can't do it now.
I go, so technology is infinitely superior to that. So you're telling me we can't do it now because we don't know how to?
Exactly.
I'm like, and I go, now you wonder why theories like flat Earth, we've never been to space, all these things prop up is because you guys say stupid stuff like we don't know how to get there anymore. You're like, fire the freaking rocket at it. You know how to launch these things.
But the biggest one for me is, we have 4K cameras, we have everything. And you mean to tell me that when the rocket gets up to a certain gravity or the cameras just completely go out and we have no other, but then later they'll show you a picture of space. Hey, we're in space now.
Chris, we have a P900, buddy, that can reach all the way to the moon surface. Why can't they get a P1500 and go all the way to the surface?
My point exactly.
You know what I mean?
My point exactly.
And into the craters. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
So what were you saying, Brian? What's the reason?
So first of all, like Antarctica, you have to be approved to launch anything outside the atmosphere, okay, into space. There's a reason behind it, and the reason is, and this is, I've been told this by a variety of different people. I wish I can get one or two of them on air telling you that have been it's abductees again. Experience is what you're saying. Off this planet, if you literally were in a rocket right now and you shot up off this planet and you went into space, you would see surrounding this planet numerous alien species craft that are it's almost like a Mexican standoff. No offense to the Mexicans here.
Yes.
And the reason why you're not allowed to do anything with this is they don't want to reveal. If you know in this earth that there are 200, 300, 400 plus species that are all here for one reason, doing the DNA, whatever it is, that we have no control over anything. Whatever control is on this planet by whatever the nations were, it would be gone. It'd be mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to. I'm not going to listen to you. You're a cop. You don't control me. No one does. It would all the narratives, anything that's in place, like the palpacy. That's a control function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you feel, had you know, I mean, if you really knew, I'll tell you what, Jesus may have died for your sins, but when he comes back, he's not dying again. He's pissed. And I'm surprised he won't kick everybody's ass. Pardon the expression. He is pissed. So it's all about, they don't want you to know why. Right now we have a conflict. China and Russia are now going into Antarctica. They're violating a treaty that the entire world couldn't agree on anything except Antarctica. There's something in Antarctica, and I believe it's literally, that world you're talking about, the flat Earth. It's not flat Earth. There is an access point to go. There are beings that have been here for millions, if not billions of years, well before us, that are still living here.
Well, I don't want to get into that discussion with you, Brian. I respect your opinion, and I hope you respect mine. But I think the world is flat. But we're not here for that tonight. So I respect your opinion. I just expect you to.
That I think what we have here is other things that have been here that,
right?
We've been told, oh, there's God and there's Jesus and whatever. There are other beings that have been here, and they're still here, and they're not going anyplace. And for some reason, the people that are in charge, that are keeping these secrets, are keeping it for a reason. Because
very true.
It's a control function.
That's why I haven't touched on this subject yet. There's passions on both sides.
Worldwide pandemonium. That out.
Yeah, I know it's a.
No, I know. Look, everybody's their opinion. I just don't.
Right.
And I respect you 100%. And I have yet to feel, on certain things. It's like, look, I don't believe. I'm not a Muslim. Do I have a problem with them? No, I don't. Believe whatever you want to believe. I'm
Exactly.
not. This isn't like flat Earth is for Jesus or anything coming to your door. Like no, I've already given.
Right.
No,
Now,
it's-
what I remember you mentioning Yeshua, or no, not Yeshua. God, what is no Yeshua? Yeshua is Jesus, and God is
God,
You said the YEYHGH something like that.
yes.
What's the true meaning? I mean, I know that's the original words.
It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be.
Galway, I think it's Galway. They call it Galway.
People say Yahweh.
Yahweh. There you go. Yahweh and Jeshua.
Christ.
Right, which is Yahweh would be God and Yeshua would be Jesus, right? Is that correct, Brian?
Yeah, I mean it's the true name of God, and it appears through. It's technically not supposed to be written or spoken. That's how religious the really religious Jewish people are.
Okay.
You're not supposed to write it any place, and that was his. And I'm using the word.
Should I write it down right now?
You can do whatever you want with it, but that was his way of proving that.
Brian,
Just being provocative.
could you explain to me, Brian? Because I'm somewhat ignorant on this. Why does the Bible say God said not to worship Him as a statue, as a person? Yet we have all these statues, these crosses, these churches, and He said not to worship Him as a supreme being.
Well,
And we do, and it's allowed.
You're talking about the image of what Christ
Yes.
is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the problem, and that's what I said before. I believe in Jesus as a person and a messenger for God, but that Jesus is not God, and that's where you get it's really weird. I have friends that believe Jesus is God, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, no, one's the Father and one's the Son, right?
Right, but but people still believe that Jesus is God. God is God, in my opinion, and Jesus is like God has done in the past. They send messengers. He sent Abraham to Moses to the Pharaoh. Let my people go. You tell them, go tell them. Just like Jesus is telling you, like, stop doing what they're doing. You don't need these people. The only way to God is to do it this way. And it's a certain worshiping way. And technically, because everybody back then would be considered a rabbi, which is a scholar of the Bible or the Old Testament, then in order to follow the true teachings of Jesus, you'd have to follow almost like an orthodox type of religion. But that's just my thought process on it. I'm not going to tell anybody what they can or should or shouldn't believe in. That is up to you to make that decision. I don't, I see all the crosses there. And someone did it. Talk about a comedy routine. Someone did. You think Jesus would be pretty? That's the symbol you use for me.
I know. Yeah, I was just gonna say. There's those. You get those memes. It's like, what part of this thing makes you think I like this? And they're like pointing to him on the cross. It's like that wasn't my best time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't pick up something else instead of whatever. So,
No, it's good. It's like what.
That's
so as.
That's the whole thing. So, Carlito, when you're asking about the worshiping thing, people that you worship at the cross believe that Jesus must be God. That's all I can make an assumption from that. There are other people that see Jesus as the protector, the messenger. I'm following you, and I will get to God. So it depends on how you were raised or what your belief system is.
Yeah,
right.
There's
And
many
so,
that view him as a prophet.
Right. So okay. So what do you think about my situation, Brian? Since you brought that up, that I believe in both Jesus Christ and God, because I was brought up Catholic all my life. But yet again, I also believe in aliens because I've seen 3 UFOs in my lifetime. So is that, politically correct? I mean, or am I off, or does that make me crazy to believe in both, or what? I mean, that's my question.
I believe in God as the supreme being.
Mm-hmm.
I hate when people use it. Oh, source. Source told me. No, I believe in God as God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I believe Jesus existed. He's the messenger of God. Okay. I also believe that we are being visited by numerous different species.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that say, or you either believe in God or you either believe in, aliens. You can't believe in both.
Who is to tell me that God didn't create those species? I don't know. We'll go. Here's when you find out. When we all leave this purgatory called Earth, and we go to heaven, hopefully, instead of hell, and I believe in heaven and a hell. Once you go back to the source where God is, okay, after the big battle of the Antichrist, you're going to know everything about everything. You just know. It's very interesting, and and this goes a little bit back to the Antichrist. When people pass away, they know what's going to happen to you. But there are rules and regulations when you get up to certain points. Heaven and hell have rules. They have different layers. The closer you to the source, which is God, the main thing, the freer you are to do things. You are not allowed to intervene at certain points. That's what happens. Some people bypass that. They say the hell with it because there is such a connection to that soul that you created, like your father or your mother or whatever. They watch over you. They will intervene when they shouldn't. And if they get caught, there are penalties to do it. It may be another lifetime down here, or maybe like, no, you have to reincarnate and go through the path. But a lot of people just follow the rules. You will know if God created all, let's say there's 500 different species. He created every galaxy, every star you see up there, whatever. Okay, you'll eventually find out. So there's nothing wrong with believing, like, what's the difference? The same philosophy as well, either believe in God or Jesus, but you can't believe in aliens. But then you'll have the whole group of people say, well, you can't, you can only go with like tan Jesus, but you can't go with the black Jesus or the yellow Jesus or the red Jesus. No, God made man, and that's women, in his image. That was what's told us. But God may not have told us, oh, by the way, I created reptilians and I created praying mantis. These could have been other areas that he created with the hope that they would develop too. I think God gave us the ability, what was it, free will, everybody, right?
True.
And once you have free will, you have the ability to do what's right. I'm giving you a set of rules to play by, and you're supposed to do what's right. And each society, like the reptilians could have had a set of rules, and they could worship something they call, Groknok, but that's still the same God. We don't know yet. And I have no problems with what you believe in. The only problem I have is when you want to worship a head of lettuce, or you join a taking advantage of you and you're wearing Nikes before you go on to bed.
Excuse me, sir. I worship romaine.
Great.
Don't give me your iceberg.
This
is Team Romaine. Yeah, it's Team Romaine, not iceberg.
Goldberg, you're all the
same. No, that's it. I'm gonna car bomb you now, because I don't do that iceberg stuff. What did we just turn into the IRA? Come on.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right, Brian, and thank you for that wonderful explanation, brother. Thank you. But there's a lot of people, like I said, there's a lot of people that I tell, there is both God and aliens. They look at me crazy, like, what? Are you stupid? No, there's only God. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not even going to go into that. I'm not going to try to explain everything, 20-something years of research that I'm not going to try to explain to you in 5 minutes. So, yeah, that's why I brought that up, Brian. Thank you, man. Appreciate
that. Ancient Aliens is a great show because it theorizes on exactly what we're talking about. What if what we consider God?
Yes. Alien. Yes. Thank you.
And
yes.
You know what? When you hear these stories of angels and how they float down, and you're into this UFO thing, and you've seen some things, and when you've talked to someone who's been abducted, or really abducted and continuously, and they're starting now to not only just get abducted, but they're starting to be like, revealed. Things are revealed to them, and this stuff that they very well could be. Angels could be aliens. I mean, it's not that far off.
Right, yeah, exactly.
There's just as good a chance that that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. We're at an hour and a half.
Nice.
So I know we're going to be back February 15th is the plan for everybody. So we'll figure out
Hey, so in conclusion, just to get a general idea, what do you guys? Who do you guys think is the Antichrist? Is he here? Is he not?
I don't
here
think he's born yet.
No,
I don't think he's born yet. I think the path is still being prepared.
My mother.
Okay, what do you think, Brian? Because I've known Brian. He's told me this a bunch of times.
My mother-in-law. Oh, honey. You know what? There's so many candidates, but I don't think. I mean, Schwab would be right on that list, but I think he has not been revealed yet.
Yeah,
but he is known to all those world powers. He's known to the British throne, the Schwab, all of them.
Yeah, he could be born. I mean, like I said,
let me ask y'all
a better way to say it.
Let me ask y'all another question. Do y'all think the elites know who he is already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
If not, if not who, they know where, they know, when, they've got some idea of the timetable.
They're grooming him right now, being groomed.
No, you're talking like the seven families, the Rothschilds, all those people. Those, I think they've been working with this and planning this for a while, and they've allowed the pieces to maneuver so that that individual can be born, and they're grooming them.
I think the elites are the real owners of the world, and they're so powerful that if you Google elites, it will show you nothing on the elites. What do you think, Tommy?
I was going with the Pope Francis, just based on all the dark Satanist, ritualistic things that he's been doing since he was, nominated for Pope. But I mean, I'm not 100% it's really him. I think he's just part of the game,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw a couple images where he was wearing some type of satanic symbols on his robe and stuff, like low key, and I was like, holy crap, are they bringing out that just out and open like that? Man, that's crazy. Yeah. I would say, me personally, I would say Elon, like I said earlier, because he's getting dangerously dictatorshiply close to being a god figure. I mean, that's just the way I see it. That's why I see him going with that. Basically, he's like halfway, but if they let him, oh, that's a cool sticker.
Yeah, that's our sponsor, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, Carly.
Cool.
Radio, joined us at the beginning of the year so Ron.
I didn't know that.
He's went on there, and so he's been commenting to so so everybody go to Mixler.com and create an account. He plays he has a couple things where he'll play some music lineups. He'll just have some music playing, but he also plays this he'll also replay this weird show by these bearded guys occasionally, and it's occasionally, like every Wednesday at 11 p.m. And he'll do Into the Outer Realms, Slacker 82. So if you're wanting, more serious, like political talk where they actually name names and say things, Slacker 82 is the way to go. We're way more PC than they are. We try. I try not to ruffle the feather just too much. I mean, because I want to be about the topics, on both sides. Try to go down the aisle, but I'm telling you, it is damn hard sometimes. Oh my God, is it hard? I mean, I want to just, I want to talk about HB. I really do, but it's just one of those things. It's like half of your audience is immediately alienated. It's just like you can't do it. You can't do it. I mean, it's
on all these platforms. So
yeah, and it's a shame, but everybody needs to go support Carlito and Tom in their endeavors. Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom. You need to go to North Carolina Paranormal North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. Yeah, I don't want to screw that up.
That's all right.
You need to go there, support those guys, like and subscribe. Make sure that you keep their numbers way ahead of us, because Lord knows there's we should never it's they keep. It's almost makes me cry sometimes. I'm just because I'm on I'm on the thing, so I see these notifications. This person's asked to join. I'm like, oh man, come on. So your guys' numbers are growing. It's really amazing. I'm very proud of you guys. Good job on that.
Thank you, man.
So keep that up. Health, healing, prayers. Whoever you pray to, do something like that. Send that over Tom's way. For the family, make sure everything's going good there. So, like I said, that's not my place to talk about anything. Just letting you know that prayers and thoughts are well received and asked for over on that side. So, sir, I want you to take good care of yourself and the family. I said, please keep that up, like you said, but it's not my place to talk about anything. So
much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I see those beards coming along pretty nice, Brian and Tom.
Mm-hmm.
See that, man?
Yeah.
I want to get that Viking thing going right here in the
I've almost got that.
Ginger.
Yeah. I've almost got that to where
Austin.
I mean, I got little extra here, but if I'm in the sun more often, I will become a strawberry blonde. My hair will, I'm not kidding. It'll change. It'll become like what the hell is that thing?
Captain Redbeard from Florida.
Wait till the playoffs come, and I'm gonna look like Craig. But
next thing you know, Brian's gonna start selling rum, like a pirate rum.
Yeah,
it might be possible.
Fountain Select. So, all right. Well, like I said, everybody, please, support our sponsor, ERT Radio. Like I said, go listen to them. It's real easy. Even if you haven't subscribed yet, all you have to do is just simply click on Mixler.com and type in ERT Radio, and it'll bring it right up, and you can listen to it. I mean, it's like you don't have to create an account to listen. It's just it helps him with the numbers, and it also, hey, if you mention that you saw it on us, you get you get to listen to some cool music and talk. I mean, I don't want to make it some BS spiel like you see on late night, like. Mention our name now, you get a free subscription because it's free anyway. So it's like all it takes is just your time, and support for him. So so thank you for that. So you guys appreciate you being on again. February 15th. We do not have a show, a live show next week. I'm gonna try to rebroadcast and figure out how the hell to do it. Wish me luck, for one for next week. Because I'm going to be on a cruise ship, and it's really hard to broadcast from a cruise ship.
No, it's not. You got to get the internet package.
I know, but that takes a little thing like this.
You want the internet package and the drink package.
Yep. That's the best two packages on the boat.
So if we can get everybody to give us about 40,000 stars, I can broadcast live from the cruise ship.
Nice.
Because that's about the only way that's going to happen. Yeah, it's like so it would be it's crazy expensive. I think it's like
Carnival
just
Royal Caribbean.
Yeah,
no,
we're going to
the only cruise is Disney.
Yeah, we're going Disney, and it's but the crazy part is
you want to talk about Antichrist. Give me a break.
He's gonna have the Mickey ears on. He's gonna be on the boat by the pool.
All right, I have never been one to shy away from my hypocrisy, but my hypocrisy only goes so far. If anybody can name that movie quote, you will be the winner in my book.
Hey, knowing Craig, he's gonna go to the chef in that cruise ship. He's gonna be like, "Hey, move, man, I got this." You know what I mean?
I know. Just coming here, it's like, what the hell is it?
What is this? I got this.
Well, every time I hear about Mickey Mouse, all I think of is the South Park episode when Mickey comes to the Jonas Brothers.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you're not gonna wear those dirty rings. Mickey beats the hell out of him.
You know what? I'm surprised the Simpsons haven't brought up anything on Antichrist. Now that you just mentioned that,
they probably did. You can go back to like one of those videos and see if they do mention somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in there. So, all right. Well, we got to wrap this up. We're already an hour and 43 minutes. All right. So, everybody, thank you for watching. Appreciate everybody doing that. Like, subscribe, share, go to social media, follow Cryptid Paranormal Kingdom and North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project on YouTube as well as Facebook. They've got several groups there. You've got Into the Goblin Universe, if I got that right.
Yep, there's another one coming out, so I'll announce it. It's probably
and for everybody said too, you can also follow Brian here because he is now. This is also a permanent home for him as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, because he's kind of he's taken the slot right there of Austin on the permanent basis, and Austin will be jumping whenever he can. So like I said, everybody, just thank you to everybody that's subscribed, everybody that's bought merchandise. It means a lot. Go ERT Radio on Mixlr. We are rebroadcast there every Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern time. So check that out there as well too. And we will see everybody. I'm gonna see everybody in a couple weeks, but we'll see you on replay. So I'm gonna pick a good one. So it's try to get one that was really popular with everybody. So yeah, welcome to the team, Brian from Burt Radio. So all right, everybody. Have a great thing. I hope you had a great new year. It looks like everybody made it through it safely. We will see you on the next side.
Peace out.
Night, everybody.
Good night.